Good morning, children. I hope you all are fine. Now, first of all, happy Anand Chaturdashi. So, I hope you all are taking care of your health and of your family's health also. So, today, let us continue with the same chapter, third chapter, India's internal challenges. Now, in the last class, we have seen some of the internal challenges what our country was facing, like for example in Punjab, the operational Blue Star, the unrest situation in Punjab. Now, and also we have started about the problem that are Northeast India, the issues concerning Northeast India, and we have seen about some of the agents like Northeast Frontier agencies and all that. They were looking forward to it. So let us start with the first, our Northeast state, Mizoram, and what all the problem Mizoram challenges Mizoram faced. The tribes in Northeast India have an ancient history, that is in Mizoram. When India became independent, the government gave administrative autonomy to the district of Mizo majority areas of Lusa Hills. Now, Mizo means it's a tribe, Lusa Hills. When the State Reorganization Commission was appointed in 1954, the expectations of the people in this area also grew. They started demanding an autonomous Mizo province. Autonomous means independent Mizo province. Mizo is a tribe, and the territory of Mizoram during that time also was suffering from severe drought. That means a shortage of water, opposite of flood, drought. Okay, and they were have facing problem, and at the same time they also wanted the separate province. During this famine only, Mizo leader Landega served the common people a lot. Landega, he established an organization called Mizo National Front, that is MNF, in 1961. Who established? Landega. Okay. He asked for Greater Mizoram, an independent nation. So he said that Mizoram should be independent nation from Tripura, Manipur, Mizo majority area from Lusai Hills. So from that, as we know that children, these all places are like a hilly areas, eastern borders, all are situated on the hills and all that, isn't that? In March 1996, Mizo National Front announced the emergence of independent Mizoram. So during that time, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was there, and they have established that in 1966 they have given the emergence of independent Mizoram, and Indira Gandhi handled the situation firmly and suppressed a rebellion, means a revolt started to form a new Mizoram. When the situation calmed down in 1972, the Mizo majority area was given the status of Union Territory. When it was given the status of Union Territory, 1972, and 1985, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi had an agreement. During that time, 1985, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister with the Mizo National Front and Mizoram given the status of full-fledged state. So when Mizoram got the status of full-fledged state in 1985, and during that time when Mizoram became the independent state, Landega, who has played important part for the formation of Mizoram, he became the first chief minister of Mizoram. Got it? So this is about the Mizoram we have seen. Now, 1985 Mizoram was formed. ये
Go.
skip नहीं कर सकते क्या add?
Go.
Now let's see the next northeast state, Nagaland. The Naga tribe in northeast India is known as a martial tribe. The martial, it's like whatever. The martial is a tribe, isn't that? Has settled in eastern Himalayas and Naga hills. Martial arts you must have heard, isn't that? Eastern Himalayas and Naga hills they used to settle. That is in the border areas of Assam and Myanmar. Myanmar is the new old name of Burma. In 1946, some educated Naga youth established the organization called Naga National Council, that is NNC. They made a demand for an independent state of Nagaland. Who demanded? NNC organization. They were led by Ngami Zapu Fizo, reformer. In 1954, the National Naga Council announced. Okay, 1954. An establishment of an independent Federation of Nagaland. In 1955, skirmishes happened between local Nagas and the soldiers of Assam Rifles. Skirmishes means a revolt. Several rounds of discussions took place between central government and Naga National Council to suppress the revolt. The Naga majority territory got the status of union territory, and Nagaland became the full-fledged states on 1st December 1963. 1963, Nagaland got the place of full-fledged states by putting together the Naga majority territory and part of Chusang. So this is about the Nagaland. Now let us see about the Assam. In 1983, there was an intense agitation staged by all Assam Students Union and Assam Ganga Sangram Parishad over the question of dominance in Assam of Bengali migrants. In 1985, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, Central Home Minister Shankar Rao Chauhan, and Assamese leader Prafulla Kumar Mohanty signed a treaty. It was decided to send the Bangladeshi citizen who has infiltrated in Assam back to their original places. In 1986, elections were held for Assam Legislative Assembly, and Prafulla Kumar Mohanty of Assam Gan Parishad became the new Chief Minister of Assam. Due to this democratic process, it became possible to establish peace in Assam. Okay, so that is about Assam. Now let us see about Arunachal Pradesh. In 1954, NEFA was formed. In 1972, it began to be called as Arunachal Pradesh. That is the region of rising sun. Do you know that the first place sun rises from Arunachal Pradesh only? On 20th February 1987, it got the status of constituted state. So, during the period of 1960 to 2000, Northeast India had progressed toward a more mature democracy. Area on the path of progress through industrialization, spread of education, etc. So, like so many states of Northeast India got the status of full-fledged state. Now, there are one more challenge that our country was facing, that is Naxalite movement. Now, this movement started as Naxalbari in the Darjeeling district in West Bengal. The Naxalites organized the small land holding farmers and the land laborers and took charge of their lands, put up red flags, and declared that area as free territory in 1967. All those movements that took inspiration from this revolt are called Naxalite movement. So that was a rebellion that they have rebelled for some demand. The movement had the objectives of establishing action committees to raise a voice against the exploitation of farmers by the landlords and confiscate the land of landlord and distribute it among the tenants. What do you mean by confiscated? To take away the land from them. Later, the movement strayed away from its objectives. So, why it was started, and these objectives only got changed, and they had taken a shape of terrorism to prevent any government scheme. Okay, whatever the government introduce any scheme to oppose the government scheme, they started like a organization, like a terrorism organization was started. The Naxalites started a parallel system by rejecting all the democratic system by the government. This made Naxalism a serious challenge to India's internal development. The movement was mainly actually located in West Bengal. Later, the movement spread to East Godavari in Andhra Pradesh. Parts of Andhra Pradesh like Visakhapatnam, Karimnagar in Telangana, Adilabad, Rajnandangao and Sukma in Chhattisgarh, Gadchiroli, Bandhara. These all are the places generally Naxalite movements are there. Some of the parts of Maharashtra, Chandrapur, Balaghat, Mandala in Madhya Pradesh, Koraput in Odisha. In order to maintain their influence, the Naxalite established an organization called People Liberation Guerrilla Army, PLGA. This conflict is still going on, children, but the Naxalites and the government policies. That is about Naxalism. Now we will let us see about the communalism. Is a serious threat to the unity of our country. Communalism, okay, is emerged out of narrow religious pride, revolt in the name of community, the religion, and why it was started? Because of the Britishers. People of different religions have happily lived together since many centuries, but Britishers had sowed this seeds of jealous. There is nothing wrong in people of different religion living together in a country, but while being duly proud of their own religion, but when this pride became excessive, then it turns into biogrity. That means each one then begins to consider their religion superior and others inferior. Okay, superior, inferior, that is called as bio. This leads to religious fanaticism. Fanaticism is the base of communalism. It makes one oblivious of national interest. People of different religion don't trust each other. These all are the problem we are facing in communalism. They became suspicious of each other. Competitors following different religions are looked at. Even compensatory or coming together on festivals became rare. Okay, now all these terms you have to learn, children. As a result, it became difficult for everybody to come together. To come together and to get organized for their demands and rights as citizens. Fanaticism makes the perspective of looking at events and people prejudice. Some people begin to think of economic and social questions also in the framework of their own religion. Some people of all religions think that since they belong to a particular religion, they have no influence in politics. They begin to believe that they are being treated unjustly. They hold the idea that the government is partial against their religion, and in such condition they became too sensitive, and their co-religionists, if somebody speaks about their religion, there starts the riots or insult the religion symbols knowingly or unknowingly. Riots break out because of this kind of thinking. Riots means dange, what we called as, isn't that? Hundreds of innocent people are being injured. Public property worth crores of rupees is damaged. Public peace is destroyed due to the bitter memories of the riots. People are estranged from each other. Mutual trust receives a setback. Trust between people is the basis of coexistence. If trust breaks, social unity receives a blow. How can national unity be achieved without social unity? Is must. Hence, it is necessary that we all encounter this religious communalism with all our strength. For this, we should mix with people of different religion. We should accept the good practices and ideas of each other. We should be able to look at and understand our economic and social problem rationally. We should not mix these questions with religion. We should search for the economic, political, historical reasons that are responsible to disturb religious harmony. This is only way to put an end to communalism and strengthen national unity. Are you getting, children, all these points? So today we have studied about the 3 states of Northeast states like Mizoram, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, how Nagaland, how they got the status of full-fledged states. And also we have seen the terms like Naxalite movement, communalism. Only one topic is left, that is regionalism, and this I will be teaching online live in the Zoom app or Google Meet app, that I will be telling you, children. Actually, I supposed to take it today only, but due to this Anant Chaturdashi, many of you will be busy with the Visarjan process. That is why I have shifted to the next week. Next week means after your papers. Okay, so I hope today's part you have understood. You just read out. It's nothing, only you have to read out, children. And important the lines, important the words, terms, you have to underline. Okay, so I hope you understood. Any problem if you have, you should ask me after 10 a.m. Okay, thank you.